plenty of talk around JobSeeker today. There may well be an announcement in the next couple of hours of a permanent rise in JobSeeker. Guardian reporting it's going to be an extra $50 a fortnight. That only equals about $4 or $5 a day. What do you make of that? What do you think it should be?
Well, look, I'll listen closely to any proposals in this morning's joint party room. Before the coronavirus, I thought it was fair to look at increasing the unemployment assistance. It is very low, and I'm not suggesting I could live on it or anything like that. In saying that, that was all before we racked $1 trillion up on the nation's credit card. And I just think we're borrowing too much from overseas. We're borrowing too much from the Chinese government. We can't put ourselves in that kind of vulnerable position, and we've got to try and restrain ourselves here. And so maybe $50 a fortnight is reasonable enough, but I'll look very closely at it because I think every decision now, post-coronavirus, has to be evaluated on how much are we going to borrow, how much debt we're racking up, especially decisions like this which will be baked in for the long term. You know, we all supported JobKeeper, but that's a temporary measure. The JobSeeker supplement was meant to be temporary. So we've got to make sure we don't lock in spending for future generations when we've already got the highest debt we've had since World War II.
At what point, though, does it become a disincentive to find work? So what would be the limit in your view?
Well, my understanding is, from what I read, is today's proposals will be partnered with strengthened mutual obligation requirements. And I suppose plain English, that means there'll be tougher tests to make sure people getting the dole are actually looking for work and taking work if it's offered to them. So I think that's very important. I mean, I don't imagine $50 a fortnight will change things one way or another.
Well, it's not really. That's peanuts, really. It's only a couple of bucks.
That's right. It's not. Well, look, every little bit helps for people in those circumstances, I'm sure. As I say, it's got to be weighed up with what we can afford. But at the same time, we can't keep JobSeeker where it's at, and certainly JobKeeper as well, because you do hear a lot of reports about people just not coming to work because they're happy to keep getting the JobKeeper or JobSeeker payments.
But what about those people who have those serious barriers, particularly in regional areas where they just can't find work?
Well, look, regional Australia is a big place, so there's lots of variety. There's lots of places in country Australia where you just need to walk down the street to get a job. There's unemployment rates are very low. Business owners are desperate to find people. Now, that's not to say that's the case across all Australia, especially in Indigenous communities. Unemployment rates are high, but there's a whole lot of other issues there that JobSeeker won't exactly fix. So, look, I don't think there's necessarily a different issue in regional Australia. It's just that there's lots of differences across the country. I think the main thing we need to do, as I say, is get our government spending in some kind of check because ultimately we as a nation, as a trading nation, as a capital importing nation, if we rack up lots of money on the public sector debt, eventually interest rates will rise. Eventually we'll have a problem with inflation and it'll be too late to try and fix it then. We may as well try and get our house in order now.
Okay.